You step onto your porch in the early morning light, a cup of coffee in your hand, only to look down and find a lifeless mouse placed perfectly on the welcome mat. Your cat sits beside it. They stare up at you with unblinking eyes. You probably think this is a gift. You might even think it is a token of affection. It looks like a gruesome little thank you for the meals you provide. But this behavior has absolutely nothing to do with gratitude. For millions of years of feline evolution, leaving prey at the feet of another was not an act of love. It was a cold and calculated survival mechanism born in the harsh deserts of the ancient world. To understand the mind of the creature sitting on your porch, you have to completely erase the modern world from your imagination. Forget the soft beds. Forget the climate-controlled houses. Forget the steady supply of processed food. You must travel back in time roughly 10,000 years to the arid, unforgiving scrublands of the Middle East. This is the birthplace of the African wildcat. This small, fiercely independent predator is the direct genetic ancestor of every domestic feline on Earth today. Their DNA is almost entirely identical to the animal currently purring against your leg, and out in those ancient deserts, life was defined by a razor-thin margin of error. In the wild, these felines are solitary creatures. They do not form packs. They do not rely on a community for protection or sustenance. A wildcat navigates the world completely alone. This isolation creates a unique psychological pressure. If a wolf injures its paw, the rest of the pack can bring it food until it heals. If a solitary wildcat twists its ankle, it starves to death. Every single hunt is a life-or-death gamble. So why would an animal living under such immense pressure waste its hard-earned calories to carry a dead animal across the desert, only to drop it on the ground? What exactly is happening in their brain? In the mid-20th century, an ethologist named Paul Leyhausen spent years studying the complex predatory behaviors of cats. Ethology is the scientific study of animal behavior under natural conditions. Leyhausen wanted to decode the exact biological sequence of the feline hunt. What he discovered completely shattered our understanding of predator psychology. He found that in the feline brain, the urge to hunt and the urge to eat are completely disconnected from one another. They are governed by two entirely separate neurological systems. In the science of animal behavior, this is the split between appetitive behavior, which is the internal drive to seek and stalk, and consummatory behavior, which is the physical act of eating. In most predators, a full stomach turns off the drive to hunt. The feline brain ignores this completely. Have you ever wondered why a perfectly well-fed house cat will still obsessively chase a laser pointer or brutally attack a stuffed toy for hours on end? It is because hunger does not trigger the hunt. The feline brain is hardwired to seek out the sequence, regardless of how full their stomach might be. Leyhausen observed that if a cat was in the middle of eating a satisfying meal, and a live mouse was suddenly released into the room, the cat would instantly abandon the food. It would seamlessly transition back into the stalking phase, capture and kill the mouse, leave the fresh body on the floor, and immediately return to its bowl to finish the original meal. The kill sequence is a biological imperative. It is fueled by massive surges of dopamine in the brain. This chemical creates an overwhelming sense of reward. For a wildcat, hunting is a severe neurological addiction, but killing the prey is only one half of the evolutionary equation. To see the other half, you must look closely at a mother wildcat surviving in the harsh scrublands. Imagine a female African wildcat blending perfectly into the dry, yellow grass. She is a marvel of biological engineering, optimized for one singular purpose. Her skeletal structure is highly specialized. Unlike humans, a cat does not have a rigid collarbone connecting their shoulders. Their clavicles are free-floating, buried deep inside their muscle tissue. This allows them to squeeze their entire body through any opening that is simply the size of their head. It also acts as a massive shock absorber, allowing them to drop from incredible heights without shattering their front legs. Her whiskers are deeply embedded in her nervous system. They can detect microscopic shifts in air currents, alerting her to the movement of a beetle in the dark. She spots a desert rat emerging from its burrow. The physiological shift is instantaneous. Her pupils dilate to let in maximum light, transforming her eyes into deep, dark pools. Her heart rate slows. She compresses her body against the earth, folding her limbs like a coiled spring. She calculates the distance, the wind, the trajectory of the fleeing prey. In a fraction of a second, she strikes. It is a masterpiece of lethal precision. ending with a specialized bite designed to instantly sever the spinal cord. But when the dust settles, she does not consume the kill. Instead, she picks up the lifeless rodent in her jaws. She begins a long, dangerous trek across the exposed desert floor. She is risking exposure to much larger predators like hyenas and eagles. She is burning precious energy that could keep her alive. She finally reaches a hidden rock crevice. Deep inside the shadows, a litter of kittens is waiting. This is where the true purpose of the behavior is revealed. Kittens are born utterly helpless. They are blind, deaf, and highly vulnerable. More importantly, they do not possess the instinctual knowledge of how to kill. They are born with the urge to chase, but they have absolutely no idea how to safely take down a desperate, thrashing animal. Hunting is not entirely hardwired into their genetics. It is an acquired martial art that must be explicitly taught. If a juvenile cat attacks a rat incorrectly, the rat can easily bite through the cat's eye. A panicked bird can sever a vital vein with its beak. The wilderness is completely unforgiving to amateurs. How does a solitary mother teach her offspring to navigate this deadly reality? She runs a brutal, highly structured academy of survival. The curriculum occurs in 3 distinct, calculated phases. In the first phase, she brings back completely dead prey. She drops it in front of the kittens. This teaches them to associate the smell and texture of this specific animal with food. They learn what their natural prey looks like without facing any physical danger. Once they master this, the mother escalates the training. She goes out into the desert and hunts again. But this time, she does not deliver a killing blow. She merely stuns the prey. She carries a live, injured animal back to the den. She drops the dazed creature in front of her kittens. Pandemonium erupts. The prey tries to escape. The kittens clumsily try to catch it. The mother sits back and watches. She acts as a referee. If the prey gets too far away, she leaps out, smacks it back into the center of the den, and forces the kittens to try again. She is forcing them to practice the mechanics of the capture in a controlled environment. Finally, in the third phase, she brings back a completely uninjured, highly active animal. The kittens must execute the entire kill sequence perfectly. If they fail, they go hungry. She is not bringing them gifts. She is bringing them homework. She is systematically overriding their ignorance with survival skills. But what does this violent desert education have to do with the cat sitting in your modern living room? This brings us to a fascinating and paradoxical twist in evolutionary biology. This maternal teaching instinct is so deeply burned into the feline genome that it cannot simply be turned off. It is an evolutionary ghost. It haunts the neurological pathways of your pet. When a domestic cat lives in a human home, especially if they are spayed or neutered, they have no kittens to teach. But the biological software is still running in the background. The brain demands that the sequence be completed. Hunt, kill, return the prey to a safe territory, educate the family unit. When there are no kittens available, the feline brain simply searches the environment for the next closest thing. It looks for other members of its social group who appear completely incompetent at surviving in the wild. It looks at you. You must view yourself through the eyes of an ancient desert predator. Your cat watches you every single day. They see you open loud metal boxes. They see you manipulate strange plastic bags. But they have never once seen you execute a flawless ambush on a gazelle. They have never witnessed you leap into the air and pull a bird from the sky. In the cold, calculating logic of the wildcat brain, an animal that cannot hunt is an animal that is doomed to die. You are enormous, clumsy, and remarkably loud when you walk. You lack claws. Your teeth are flat and useless for tearing raw meat. From an evolutionary standpoint, you are an overgrown, helpless kitten in desperate need of tutoring. When your cat brings a dead bird to your porch, they are executing phase 1 of the survival academy. They're bringing you completely dead prey because they believe you are at the absolute bottom level of hunting proficiency. They are dropping it at your feet, hoping that you will finally understand what real food looks like. And if your cat has ever brought a half-dead, thrashing mouse into your kitchen, dropping it on the floor and watching it run under the refrigerator, they are not trying to terrorize you. They are executing phase 2. They have assessed your skills and decided you are ready for a live-action simulation. They are patiently waiting for you to strike. When you scream and jump on top of a chair, your cat is likely watching you with the evolutionary equivalent of deep disappointment. You have failed the lesson. Your modern home is simply a high-tech rock crevice. Your cat is patrolling the territory, yielding to a biological imperative that predates human civilization. They are bound by an ancient duty to ensure that the members of their family do not starve in the wasteland. The domestic feline is a masterpiece of wild engineering trapped in a soft world. They have retained the neurological wiring of an apex killer. Every time they step out into your backyard, they are slipping back into the timeline of the ancient desert. They are a creature of two worlds, caught between the comfort of your home and the ruthless demands of their DNA. So, the next time you step onto your porch in the early morning light, a cup of coffee in your hand, only to look down and find a lifeless mouse placed perfectly on the welcome mat. Do not be disgusted, and do not flatter yourself by thinking it is a token of gratitude. It is a profound insult wrapped in an ancient instinct. Your cat thinks you are completely useless at staying alive, and they are desperately trying to teach you how to survive. If you want to keep decoding the hidden, wild instincts driving the animals living right inside your home, hit that subscribe button and join us as we continue to uncover the brutal truths of nature.